Teacher walkouts are in full swing this week. Just today alone, the job actions are affecting 10 boards in the OSSTF and EFTO, as well as all Catholic schools across the province.
With the rift strong between teachers and the government, it is easy to lose sight of who's at the heart of this battle, and that, of course, is the kids. Parenting expert Karen Irwin is here to give us insight on how it's all affecting children. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
A lot of little ones are watching right now with their parents before they go to school. So first things first, what do you think they're interpreting when they see these visuals?
Yeah, well, I think some kids are pretty pumped and excited about it because it means a day off school. But I think there are other children who might be feeling uneasy, anxious about school being closed. School is their safe place. They like it, they enjoy it. Why is it closing? And the sporadicness of it can be quite confusing for kids.
How do you approach this with different ages? The younger kids, 4 and 5, things going into SK, JK, might be the first year in school, as compared to the older kids.
So I think it's important for all ages of the children to talk to them about it, but obviously your approach might be different. I did bring a couple books. I think for the younger kids, there are actually really great books about strike and helps you explain that concept to them, basically of people not being happy or groups not being happy and banding together and using their voice to make change. I think, though, with the older children, it's important to actually have that tangible conversation with them so that they're in the know, because when kids are in the know, they feel in control and they can cope better and be more successful.
If people are heading to a library or store today, we should note the titles of these. It's adorable. So what's the first one?
So the first one, this one's Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. And this is the day the crayons quit.
I love that one.
Yeah.
And what age group are those two?
You know, obviously you could start at the 4-year-olds, but you can read them as the kids, up to 9 even, for sure.
And we talk about the younger kids. Do we need to talk to our teens about this as well?
Yeah, I think that definitely it's important to talk to the older kids. Obviously, there might be a lot of excitement and joy about being off school, but also talking to them about, maybe continuing to do some pen and paper work while they're at home so that when they transition back to school, they can be ready and hit the ground running and, not lagging behind.
Well, and that's the thing. 1 or 2 days, like you said, McKenna's like, yes, but then what happens if it goes into several days and then weeks? That's where they really start lacking in terms of the curriculum for the year. It could affect their summer time off, so it really can have an impact. So what would you say? I know you're a mom of a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old, but you're coaching parents all the time.
Yeah.
So how do parents talk to their kids? What do they say?
So what I would say to my kids is, that the schools are going to be closing because the teachers are going on strike, which means they're going to leave the schools and show everyone that they're not happy with the changes that the government are making to the education system. And so they are going to leave school, band together as a group, and go out and use their voice and their powers of being all together to show that they're unhappy with how the schools are going to be run. And the other thing that's important is to have an ongoing conversation about it because this is an ongoing thing. So to explain, what might be changing, why, also give them warning. So if you know when school's going to be closed, to share when that's coming so they can feel prepared and in the know.
And it also must be difficult when you have the political bent of the parents. You have conservative parents, left-leaning parents. Is there a different way to talk to the kids from those families about this?
I think the most important thing is to maintain positive if you can and talk about it in a high-level way. Our kids look to us as their role models and their leaders. And, if we're positive and, looking on the best case scenario or the bright side of things, then our kids are going to follow that and feel comfort and confidence in that.
And how can parents cope with this? Because it puts everybody's world upside down.
Yeah, so it definitely can create a bit of a headache. So there are definitely some strike pop-up camps that have been set up that you can sign your kids up, which would also be a really cool, memorable experience. The ROM's running a camp and the Science Center and there's sports camps. There's tons of different options. Also, there are on-call babysitter services that you could utilize that have vetted great babysitters that can come to your home, or, rely on your village. So, whether that's family or teaming up with other families within the neighborhood who have kids that are experiencing the strike as well. You could, first of all, create some epic play dates for your kids, and the power of numbers is great when you have groups of children together. but also it can help you share the load. You know, maybe you take a day off and look after the kids one day, and then your neighbor takes the next day off and looks after the kids.
And fingers crossed, hopefully we don't get to that. But what
Right.
happens also when everything's all settled and over and done with? I mean, we don't know where this is going to go. It could be a couple more of these one-day strikes, these walkouts, or it could go into a lengthy one. What do we do with our kids then? How do we get them ready for going back to school? And how do we talk about that?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing to do from 4-year-olds all the way up to 12-year-olds is to maintain the routines that you have within your home. So those are typically the morning routines and the bedtime routines, so that you're maintaining that consistency. So first of all, your children can cope with the uncertainty of the strikes, because we know when there's balance in their day, they're able to manage the unknown. But also when it's time to go back to school, you know, they're ready. They're used to going to bed at a certain time, waking up at a certain time, sort of following different steps in their routines, so the transition can be as smooth as possible.
Great tips. Where do we get more information?
So you can follow me at Rue Parenting on Instagram. That's a great place to get tips on this, as well as any parenting related thing going on.
Rue, as in Dunkaroo.
Yeah.
It's all tied together. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We've got more on BT coming up after the break.